Lost is a pretty crazy show. A lot of wild things happen. And now, because the show has already been aired, we can just binge through and we can get the answers to these questions. Or, most of the questions that we have while watching the show. But for the people that were watching Lost as it was originally airing, they had to wait to find out what was going on. Which is why there was an absolute ton of fan theories as people were trying to predict what was going to happen in the show Lost. And as something of a expert of trying to predict the endings of shows, I thought it would be fun if we went onto the internet and started looking around at the old fan theories from old message boards and articles and Reddit and trying to see what people were predicting was going to happen in Lost before the reveal. Also, this is being shot on a VHS camcorder because I thought it would be fun. So one of the things that made me even think of doing this video is there was a post in the Lost subreddit where it was asking what were the crazy fan theories back in the day. There was a bunch of responses. The standard original theory when the first show came out was that it was purgatory. Yeah, there's kind of like this base level of Lost fan theories of like theory, they were dead the whole time, or prediction, is Lost's island purgatory? The idea being that the plane crash killed everyone on the plane. And with everyone dead, that means that like Lost is either purgatory, which means that they're like in between heaven or hell and they have to live out this test to find out if they deserve to go to heaven or hell or not. So I think in that theory, it's like whenever a character dies on the island, it's them moving on to the other side kind of thing. And for the they were dead the whole time, it's like I guess it's just like one of those like dream sequence theories where it's like it never actually happened. This is all just hallucinations of a dying man named Jack. So those theories are kind of like the more basic, kind of like everyone hears those theories. And a lot of people I think actually believe that they were dead the whole time. They watched the finale and were like, yeah, they were dead the whole time. I don't think that's the case. I mean, I'm not an expert on Lost, but I'm pretty sure they were not dead the whole time. Yeah, it says right here, Purgatory theory was at an all-time high when Locke's dad appeared on the magic box. Specifically when he said the last thing he remembered was being in a car accident. The theory was refuted in big style in the last scene of the season 3 finale when we see Jack and Kate off island in the future. Yeah, I think because there was also like Jack's dad, who he thought was dead, or he knew was dead because his body was in a casket on the plane that crashed. He starts walking around, but I do know that I'm fairly certain that the island was not purgatory. One person's favorite theory back then was that rescue was not going to come save them because there was no one out there to save them. I thought it would turn out that during the flight, the world had ended and Oceanic 815 was safely crash landed as part of a government contingency plan. They would crash a plane on a remote island with hopefully enough survivors to survive and rebuild the human race. And the hatch was a supply depot of seeds, medicine, and supplies to get them started. I actually think that's a really fun theory. The idea that the island was actually supposed to be this like starting ground for a new civilization, whether it be, yeah, I bet there's some people who even were like, Lost and The Walking Dead are in the same universe, and while everything is happening with the zombie apocalypse in The Walking Dead, Lost is about an island of people trying to populate the earth. See, that's how easy it is to come up with a fun theory. For anybody who watches my Can I Solve videos and they're like, how do you come up with these wild theories? Literally just make something up. Someone said, since all of the flashbacks in the show were a variation of parent/child issues, the theory was that they were in a futuristic virtual therapy simulation, but something went wrong. That's fun. That's a really cool theory because it's like, maybe it doesn't even have to be a parent-child therapy thing. What if it's just like they're in the future, it's a therapy simulation, kind of like a VR thing, except it's the future, so it's more interactive than just a headset. The whole time they're working out their unresolved issues with parents. We see Jack's dad, and we see, Sawyer's, the guy who killed Sawyer's parents, kind of, the con artist who happened to be John Locke's dad. Like, we see all these, like, issues that these castaways have, and they work through them. That's kind of what the show's about, is working through all of this trauma. And I mean, that would make sense. Like, John Locke can walk on the island, right? Even though he was paralyzed from the waist down. Maybe that is a part of the therapy simulator. He's learning to, forgive his father for pushing him out of a window and causing him to be paralyzed from the waist down. That's actually a really fun theory. I like that a lot. This one just says Vincent is the smoke monster. So Vincent, I'm pretty sure, is the dog, right? That's a fun theory. The dog is the smoke monster. Someone said, I never saw the two of them in the same scene, so that's a good point. There's a lot of theories when it comes to the smoke monster because I feel like that was like the one huge supernatural thing that we got in the first season of Lost that everybody was just like losing their minds over. This one says that one that I can remember is that the Swan was essentially a laboratory for the smoke monster, but something went horribly wrong, which was the incident. Essentially, the hatch acted like a failsafe against Cerberus, which is how it was what it was called on the blast door map, and the button had to be pushed every 108 minutes to keep the smoke monster at bay. I don't think I quite understand that one, but based on that one, there is a fun theory to be said of like maybe the smoke monster was a scientist and an experiment went wrong, and so now he is just this collection of particles that is being, storming through this island, because we know it has to do with magnets and stuff, so maybe it's a magnetic type of thing. I don't know. That's a fun theory, though. That's something that we can work with. And then maybe that's why you have to push the button, which I'm pretty sure the whole thing about the button being pushed was it was just like a psychological experiment or something. It's been a long time since I've watched Lost. I thought that I would have remembered a lot more, but maybe I need to rewatch it. Ooh, this one's my favorite, right? So a popular entertainment writer once postulated that the reason that Tom told Kate, "You're not my type," was because Tom was in fact a polar bear that could turn human. And then Juliet, who, ends up being one of Jack's love interests, she is a dolphin because we see her in the underwater research area with Jack. That's amazing. The idea that the people that were living on the island are become the out of ordinary things that we run into on the island, like the polar bear or the smoke monster. Yeah, that's a ton of fun. That's really funny. One thing that keeps coming up kind of on repeat is the snow globe theory. And I guess it's just the idea that the entire story happens like the island is in a snow globe. And I don't really know what that has to do with anything. Because like, what if the island is just in a snow globe? Because then what? They're just on some alien shelf? Like, what does that have to do with the plot, dude? What does that have to do with anything? It's like, yeah, the whole island. Maybe our world is a snow globe. And we're just on some alien shelf, dog. There's a theory that John Locke is actually the devil. The devil plays a lot in these fan theories because a lot of people think that the island is not just purgatory, but the island is hell, which would make sense, I guess, because all of the different castaways seem to have like pretty big issues. Kate has killed somebody. Sawyer has definitely done a lot of criminal stuff. So it's just like the idea that the island itself is hell. And then if the island is hell, John Locke could be the devil. Like, he's there to terrorize and make things worse, because that's essentially what he did the entire time, even though he was like trying to help. And that would kind of explain how he was able to walk again. Maybe John Locke died and like the devil just like took over his body or something. Another theory when it comes to the devil is that the smoke monster is actually the devil. And the smoke monster is the one just like causing all this chaos. But one person's Yinyo2127 said, I remember a Truman Show theory going around during season 1 or 2. And that's really interesting. I never thought about that. I guess what would be the end game then? It's revealed that the entire time the island was a reality TV show and like these people were being killed and just for like everyone's entertainment, like a Hunger Games kind of thing. That would be an interesting show, because it's like, imagine you're on this deserted island. Like, say there's the scene in season 1 where Sawyer shoots the cop that's been in pain, and he's like, yeah, I'm putting him out of his misery or whatever. Imagine that was on national TV. You think you're on a deserted island, and you're probably going to die there. You're never going to get rescued. And you just got broadcast in 4K killing a man, or Kate, who is a convicted criminal on the run, being like, well, hey, at least I'm safe here. The cops can't find me. Meanwhile, she's on Fox. There's a lot of theories that pertain to aliens. Like this one, my theory back in the day was that the island was an old crashed UFO. And that's going to come up a lot in a lot of these articles and old message boards. Aliens seem to play a big part in a lot of the theories, which, to be honest, don't aliens always play a big part in conspiracy theories? Maybe I should find an alien theory in Pretty Little Liars. In between seasons 5 and 6, these pictures circulated of Jack, Kate, and others, but with gray hair, implying they had been on the island hidden since 1977. That is actually going to play into one of the bigger popular fan theories that we're going to get into here in a minute about how, due to time travel, all of the others on the island are actually older versions of the castaways that we see crash on the plane. On a different Reddit post where they asked like what was the best Lost fan theories from back in the day that didn't pan out, someone put out just like a rapid fire list of all of the best theories. My favorite of this list being that Jack is in a time loop and already experienced everything before. The opening shot of his pupil getting smaller is actually the smoke monster dropping him off and floating away. I guess the theory being it's all about Jack, and this is just him reliving the same thing over and over and over again. So at the very end of Lost, when Jack, spoiler alerts or whatever, because it's a little bit confusing, but when Jack dies, it's really just restarting, and he wakes up on the island. In which case, that does seem like some sort of purgatory or hell-like punishment. Another one of these theories is that the smoke monster is actually in every episode, and that the flashbacks that we see in every episode is actually the smoke monster learning more about all of the castaways. But yeah, Reddit had a bunch of fun theories, but if we go to an article that was published back in 2010 on Gizmodo.com, they have a list of fan theories that were better than the actual show, in their opinion. One of my favorites being that Charles Widmore was using the island to test out psychic marketing, which would seem absurd, right? But think about it. Would Elon Musk have an island where he's testing out psychic marketing? I think he would. Yeah, Widmore wants to use the arcane Dharma science to create a new form of direct marketing, beaming product marketing directly into your consciousness. Oh, man. And then the idea being that the people that crashed on the island are test subjects for the market research testing. This is a big theory I've seen a lot. The idea that the island of Lost is actually the Garden of Eden. And people would go really in deep, especially this guy who would write for Entertainment. Jeff Doc Jensen. He would write for Entertainment Weekly. He was like the leader of these crazy fan theories as the show was airing. But one of his biggest theories, like he would go super in depth about how it's the Garden of Eden and how its goal is to try to get humanity back to before the fall when Eve ate the apple. Kind of thing. And there's even in the show Lost, there's the two skeletons of like a couple, and they get called Adam and Eve. I guess that theory is that they are actually Adam and Eve, which would be crazy. Oh, this is another one of my favorites. Aaron is an evil super being who took over Claire's baby. So basically, the Dharma Initiative's experiments resulted in the creation of an ultra-powerful psychic being, one who is obsessed with pop culture and powerful enough to bring his obsessions to life. He went crazy due to the endless Skinner box experiments that the Dharma people subjected him to, and he finally died. His radioactive corpse is walled up in the hatch, but he's imprinted his super powerful consciousness on the island itself, and this mega powerful entity is called Aaron. He summoned Oceanic 815 to the island because he needed a new body, and Claire's unborn baby is perfect for the task. That's why the others tried to kidnap pregnant Claire so that they could implant the evil entity into her baby. And that is also why they tried to get rid of Walt, because he was the only one who could see through their plan. It makes total sense, I think. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I find so interesting is like when we don't have the ending to a story and it's not coming soon enough, we immediately want to start predicting the end of the story. I mean, that's essentially what starts the Can I Solve videos that I do, where it's like, Take a show like Pretty Little Liars, where it's like, we know that there is a mystery. Allison was killed, and there is someone named A who is terrorizing the 4 main characters. That's all you know, right? At the end of episode 1. So it's like, who killed her? Who is A? Who is doing all of these things? And it's really fun to take all of the different connections, take all the suspects, and make your own theories. And sometimes you can be right if you add logic and not just say aliens. But with something like Lost, aliens wouldn't have been that crazy of a reveal, right? Like if aliens had showed up on the show Lost, I think everyone would have been like, okay, now we got aliens. But it's no different really in sci-fi than when they do the time travel stuff. It's just like, there is a place for it in the show Lost. But if I'm watching Riverdale and I'm like, aliens, then you're probably not going to get your theory to come true. You got to use deductive reasoning like Sherlock. Okay, this was the theory that I hinted to a little bit ago in the video, that the past and future castaways are actually sharing the island. This is a theory from all the way back in 2008. The Oceanic Six decide to return to the island, but when they come back, they pass through the electromagnetic anomaly and are zapped into the past, which is way before the plane even crashed. So after the plane crashes, they have to hide out and avoid interacting with their past selves for fear of causing a rupture in space-time continuum. So the whispers that they hear in season 1 are actually their future selves that are trying to help guide their past selves, because maybe the idea being like, hey, if we can slowly direct the past versions of ourselves, we could actually help them get off of the island and save our current selves too. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that theory. I think that's really fun. Obviously, it didn't come true, but that is one that I would have definitely bought into. And that's one that I might have even come up with if I was watching it as it aired. Because that's the thing, right? Like, you have 6 months to a year in between seasons, and this is the kind of show that you want to talk about. This is the kind of show that you want to think about. There's so many. It's that mystery box device that J.J. Abrams always talks about. You want to know what's in the mystery box. That's why I think us as a society, we're so addicted to true crime and mysteries and stuff, because we want to know the end of stories. All right, now we're looking at some other articles. This one is from Screen Rant, but this theory is that the Dharma Initiative created Hurley. The theory goes that Hurley was a sort of super intelligence that was created by the Dharma Initiative, and it escaped their grasp, and it found refuge inside of a human inside of a psychiatric institution named Hugo Reyes. That is Hurley in the show. And then Dharma ended up broadcasting the mysterious numbers as a way to lure Hurley back to the island. And that is what happens when, the plane crashes. Now, this is what makes me laugh about this article, is at the end of each theory, they give you a little information about why it didn't happen. And this one just says, there's no evidence to support this idea whatsoever other than mysterious and powerful nature of the Dharma Initiative. It's like, no, there's no backing to this theory at all. Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones that I've seen so far. It's not like it cannot be true, but you know what I mean. You'll see what I mean. So there is a scientific hypothesis that the moon was formed when an astronomical body the size of Mars collided with Earth. And then the Lost fan theory says that the island exists at the point of that impact, right? So it's almost like this island is a magnetic core of a planet, or of something from space the size of Mars. We now move on to the Lostpedia, the fandom page, where they have a whole theories list. And they have a whole category of different fan theories that fit into the overarching theory that the island is hell. And they actually have some proof for this one. So this is the idea that they are in hell, but hell is not it's a place outside of the plane of existence. It's like this island is on Earth, and it is where you go when you die. It is a physical location on the planet. And they have a few things that they think kind of proves this theory. For example, in hell, you might heal faster so that you can be tortured more frequently. And this is a property that happens on the island. Babies conceived in hell can't be born there because, of course, two condemned souls cannot posthumously make a baby together, and that is also a property of the island. A person's time in hell is divided between being tortured in the present and reliving the most regrettable parts of your past, which is also a factor of the island. The island uses real time travel to accomplish this. The flashbacks are not just flashbacks, they are reliving those painful memories. And and there's like other stuff about like how people are able to find their way to hell while still alive. And you can kind of go off of some of those like old Greek tragedies, those stories, the Greek mythology of like people going down into hell to save someone or something like that. And that would be very similar. And there's several characters in the show that do refer to the island as hell. Richard Alpert tells the survivors that they are not on an island, they are in hell, which he was told to by the Man in Black. Michael explains that his soul was trapped on the island after he died, and this is the source of the whispers the survivors hear from time to time. Anthony Cooper tells Sawyer that the island is hell while he is a prisoner on the Black Rock. One of the coolest theories that I've seen that I had never even really thought of, but it's like, it makes sense that it was one of the first theories probably thought of, and that is the idea that the island actually belonged to like the same civilization of the lost city of Atlantis, and that Atlantis had like the ability to do all of the things that the island was able to do. So it's like it's all technology based, and it's not actually supernatural like it comes across. It's just advanced technology. Like the smoke monster is made of like electromagnetic currents or something, and that they have the ability to control the climate and the weather. And then that also ties into another theory of like the island is the Bermuda Triangle, which again makes sense that it would be one of like a theory that would come up pretty quickly in season 1 for people, because like everyone knows about the Bermuda Triangle, everybody knows about the lost city of Atlantis, and now this is a show that is about like this mysterious island where things pop up. This one's a really fun one. The idea that the island is actually a malfunctioning time machine from the future. So it was this time machine, someone came back in time, crashed their time machine, and it became like this island. And that would explain all of the different time travel stuff that happens in the show, all the different like psychological things that happen. And then like some further proof to this theory is that the smoke monster is a part of like a semi-sentient nano cloud repair mechanism, where it's like it's these little bots and their job is to fix the machine, but it's beyond repair. So now it's just this smoke monster trying to fix itself. And then lastly, we're just going to go through some of these theories that I found on an old IGN like message board. And these are literally just random people from like 2006, just like being like, I think it's this. This one's interesting. It's important to note that the others said they are the good guys. The plane crash survivors are a group of misfits and degenerates. We know nothing of the others' past, and they may in fact be the good guys. The survivors that we follow are outlaws, addicts, con artists, poor role models, etc. It would be interesting to see how this unfolds. That is a very interesting thing, because it's like, you know, because we're following this group, we see them as the good guys, but that's not necessarily the case, especially when we see all of the drama that ensues with them. I don't know what that really has to do with, like, predicting what happens, but it is interesting. Oh, this is another thing that comes up a lot, and this is what someone said. This is what someone named Leonard says. Just wanted to comment on the statue. I think what Saeed said when he saw the foot was the absolute perfect reaction. What is more disturbing? That there was a statue that tall, or that it only has 4 toes? And for that matter, it was constructed with 4 toes. So if you don't remember, there's this big statue on the island that has 4 toes. That really like leans into the more of the idea of like an Atlantis, other civilization, maybe alien civilization type thing, where it's like the humans or entities that lived on this island, that created everything on this island, had 4 toes, meaning that they are non-human in some way. There's a lot of fun, I guess a thing at the time, and I wasn't aware of this really because I wasn't watching as it was coming out, but I think a thing that a lot of people were doing was trying to predict like who was going to die next. They were trying to like see who was going to get killed. Like this person is saying, I'm not saying these characters will be cut immediately, but throughout 24 more episodes of this series, I think we will see the death of Michael, Sun or Claire, Hurley, Jen or Charlie. And I believe Locke is out of there as well. Those are my thoughts. That's like all of the main characters. But that is cool to think about, like, everybody was probably wondering, like, yo, when is the next character going to die? Because characters did die. That was probably a lot of fun. That was us going in and looking at all of these fan theories from when Lost was originally airing. I know this is a very different video than what I usually do. I just thought I would try something different. I even shot it on a VHS tape because I thought that would be interesting. I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you liked this. I might try some other videos like this. If not, we won't worry about it.